Hello YouTube! Today I got a nice little package on my doorstep and I wanted to do a quick little rambling review on it. It should be the Zooz Zen20 Z-wave Plus Smart Energy Power Strip with 2 USB ports. The first thing I wanted to talk about before even getting into it was I originally placed an order with Amazon to buy this, and as you can see here it was $64.95 plus free shipping, and the order sat for 3 days, 4 days, and it never quite shipped. And funnily enough, the company that actually makes it or sells it, Smart Home or something like that, like on the 4th day, they had their own little sale, and it was like $56 with free shipping over $30. So I canceled my Amazon and ordered it from them, and thesmarthouse.com. There it is, thesmarthouse.com. I ordered it on Friday, and they shipped it on Monday. So I'm sure they didn't work on the weekend, so they shipped it much faster than Amazon. But I will say I'm a little disappointed that they did this thing where they just wrap it in this flimsy paper. This isn't bubble wrap, and it's just a box in there. Now, it looks like it arrived just fine, but it always kind of gets on my nerves when carriers do this kind of thing, or resellers, or whoever does this, because it's the cheapest way to go. And if something damages the box, who knows what can happen inside? There's no foam or outer packing, and I realize sometimes Amazon will just take this and drop it in a box and then ship it with no packing, or they'll give you 1 or 2 of those air pillows. But this is a little disappointing. So anyway, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up. See if I'm correct. And I am correct. Here's the box, the Zooz. It's got a wonderful green on the end. I love that. A little thing you can pull out. It actually the box, right now feels kind of quality. But I did want to say that yes, it is the Zooz Power Strip, and let's get to it. All right. So it doesn't look like the box was damaged in shipping or anything like that, but I am a little disappointed that they did that. So one of the things I want to talk about was, before I pull this open, was originally when I was shopping for a power strip, my main purpose was I have 2 or 3 different lamps in the same room that I want all to turn on and turn off at the same time. And I could have bought 3 little separate plugs, which is, it's advantageous. It has reasoning. You can move them anywhere and you reuse them whenever you see fit. But, most of the cheapest plug you can get is like 22 or 24 bucks shipped. So I was looking at $75 for just 3. And this bad boy has got 5 strips that can be independently controlled, and it was only 56 bucks. The downside being everything needs to be plugged into it as like a, it's a hub in a sort of a way. But if you've got a room where you're controlling multiple devices, it's the way to go. So having one of these probably isn't the worst idea in the world. Ooh, look at that, very nice. Nothing in there. Comes out and it's got this nice, it's got this kind of premium baggie. It's not a cheap feeling baggie. I actually kind of thought it would be a little cheaper because I thought it was kind of the direct competitor to the other one that I didn't get, which is the Aeon Labs DSC11, which was a little bit more pricey at $72 on Amazon. Price wasn't really a determining factor in this. There's a little tiny manual, but who needs that? It's not going to help you. That's not going to tell you how to program it in SmartThings. There we go. So look at that. It's got a shiny finish to it. I'm not sure if you can quite see that. It's got a shiny, glossy white finish. The main reason why I chose this one over the Aeon or AOTech was because of these right here. These are buttons. And the person I'm setting this up for, they're not the most savvy with this kind of Z-wave stuff, and I didn't want to set this one up, have the power go out or something, and then the only way to turn the light on with the Aeon is to log into your SmartThings or whatever you're using and do it that way, or have like a mini mote, which I have, but programming it and the buttons don't. No, that's just stupid. With this, when you have your outlet or your socket or whatever plugged in here, if it's off, you just press the button and it theoretically will turn on, and if you want it off, you turn it off. So for some reason, if a light's on and this person wants the light off, they can just go over to this and turn it off right there. So that was a big deal to me, was having buttons on here. really kind of sad that they missed the boat on the Aeon Labs or whatever here. Like, there's no buttons on here. They have indicator lights, but there's just no way to turn on the sockets. Another plus was that you get 5 of these, and this one only has 4 that are controllable. Well, 2 of them are not controllable. They're just regular sockets. But that's also kind of nice if you've got things that you always want on, that you don't want to have to go into SmartThings and say always on, you know, or just turn it on and hope that it doesn't accidentally get turned off. So that's a bonus. The USB charger ports wasn't a big deal, but I've always got something that can plug into them. It says max 2.1 amps. I'm going to guess that's split between the two. So you probably only get 2.1 amps if you use only one of them, but I don't know. Some people, you know, were questioning some of their products, saying, "Oh, is it UL listed?" And I mean, obviously it's there. You can see the insignias and all that stuff. I couldn't confirm if this is actually a surge protector. I don't think that it is. Some people were saying that it isn't, that it's actually, I mean, it just says 5 outlet power strip with USB charger. So I'm actually going to plug this in. I have a wall mounted protector that just protects against, you know, power surges and all that stuff, because I don't want to blow it, you know, basically a $60 gadget that I bought. So but I don't think that it actually is a surge protector. If you're buying one of these, you might want to look into that. Oh, look, they put the nice little you know, protector on here. It always amuses me that they do that. The cord is very thick, very rugged, very strong feeling. And let's go ahead and unravel it and see. I believe it's probably 8 or 10 feet. It probably says on here what it actually is, but you know, numbers on a website selling a product don't very mean much to me usually, because they might say it's 6 feet, but it's really 5 1/4 or something. So this is very, very long. I mean, I'm off the frame now, but if I had to guess, I would say it's, oops, sorry, my fat belly. I would say it's probably 10 feet. This is a long cord. So I like that a lot, because it gives me a lot of power to move this wherever I want. If my socket's over here and I want it on the other side of the room, well, I have small rooms, but I could do that. So with that being said, the next challenge is going to be how difficult this is to set up in SmartThings. I don't think it's as simple as just hook it up and search for it, but it might be. Back when these came out about a year ago, people had to use custom handlers and things like that to get them to work. I've only done that once or twice, so I'm still kind of a newbie on that. But that's why I do this kind of review, is if you are kind of, you know, same level I'm at, you've got a couple SmartThings, but you're not a pro. How hard is it to get it, set it up, and go? And if you have other hubs and you don't have SmartThings, I would assume it's probably very similar. It probably not a huge difference, but SmartThings is the one that I have. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and plug this in, see if I can get my SmartThings to recognize it. I believe one of the people said you press one of the channel buttons repeatedly, and it'll finally catch, and then it'll see all the plugs. But I will tell you what my experience is in terms of doing that, because my SmartThings is on my cell phone, and that's what I use to record my videos, so I can't really show you a video of that. So let's go ahead and get to it. Okay, so I wanted to make a little video here to show a couple of things. One thing, it did not pair the way they said with SmartThings, where it said just turn the power on. That didn't work for me, and I had pressed the power, or the channel 1, switch. I had pressed the channel 1 switch over and over again, and that didn't work, but then I kind of sat there for a minute, and then I pressed it off, on, and then finally SmartThings saw it. Now, like I said earlier, you can press these switches and they turn off, but one of the questions I had about this that I couldn't get answered was how loud was it? Because some of the built-in switches you can put in your wall, I've heard they're really clicky and really loud, but I'll go ahead and play these. You can hear my voice and go ahead and listen. Not that bad. Now, I don't know if I can show this. Let me try to do this while in SmartThings. When you turn all of them on, it's a louder clunk because they're all making the noise. I can't really turn all of them on, I don't think. Okay, they are going to turn on here in just a minute. So as you can see, it's not that bad. All 5 turned on and it was kind of like a zip. There was like a little buzz, and I think it's just because it probably systematically turns them on with like 3 milliseconds between it, like and it's really not that loud. If you turn everything on, it's a simple little bzz, and it shouldn't wake anybody out of a sleep or anything like that. Okay, so here we have it in its final home. What I have done here is, like I say, I'm using a wall surge protector, just made by Philips, and this is plugged. This is plugged into that, and you can turn these lights on and off really easily. Here we have this yellow one, goes up to this lamp right here, and I just press this, and you can see it comes on. Press it again, and it comes off. I'm back. I've had a chance to play with it. It was a little more painless than I thought. In the instruction manual, I put it back in the box, that little pamphlet. It says to turn this on and your hub will see it. My SmartThings did not. After reading I had read some stuff online. People had said, you got to press the channel 1 button a couple times. And I did it, like click, 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 nothing. And I tried clicking all of them on and off and still nothing. Initially, I was upstairs and the hub's downstairs, but I've added things up here before. So I went downstairs to 3 feet away, as they said, tried to turn it on and click, click, click again and nothing. And then I just kind of sat there, and then I sat there and I waited. I think the secret probably is to turn it on and wait a few minutes, and then I click, 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 click. I just kept doing it at a kind of a slow pace like that, and then it showed up in SmartThings, added it, and once it was added, it's a breeze. I don't need any special device handlers. All that's been taken care of. A year or two ago when these first came out, you probably needed to do that, but now with my SmartThings, I have version 2 hub. Beautiful. So once it finally detected it, it shows up as what it's called, and then you have basically 6 things listed under it. You have the device as a whole, so if you want to turn on and off the entire thing, you can do that, and I did that in a video to show how loud it is when all 5 turn on, because it's louder when all 5 of these turn on than when just one. With just one you get click, but with all 5 you get click. It's whenever you multiply a sound, it's gonna get slightly louder, but it's not anything that would wake you up out of bed or anything. You'll hear it. It isn't like click, but you'll hear it click on. Not that big of a deal, but it does make a little bit of noise. So if you're looking for pure silence, this won't give you that. I doubt that the Aeon Labs would give you that as well. I don't think that is probably pure silent either. Every single thing, or every single one of these that I've read about has makes some kind of noise. My dimmers that are separate plugs downstairs, they don't seem to make any noise. They just dim on and dim off. So maybe if they make a dimmer version of this someday, this does not dim, by the way. It's just on and off. If they make a dimmer version of this someday, maybe that would kick butt and be quiet. But either way, you're transforming a load, or whatever you want to call it, so it's going to make a little click. But anyways, I took a video of it, and so setting it up was real easy. You have the device as a whole, and then it lists underneath that the separate channels, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Pretty awesome. Then you just go into SmartThings, and SmartThings itself is backwards. You have to add an app to then assign to a controller, instead of just going to the controller and saying add an app to this. It should be that way. When I was on this, every time I do this in SmartThings, I look for a button that says, I look for a button that says something like add an app to this, or bind an app to this. But no, I have to back out, go to the apps, and then bind it to this. But that's a SmartThings problem, not this. Once I went, I just used the smart lights, which controls lights and switches. I added it to this, and then it lets you select. When you add it, it's like, do you want the first handler, which is the whole unit, or do you want channel 1, channel 2, channel 3? So you can control all of these separately, or you can control it as a whole, or you can do some combination of that if you really want. Like if you want to turn on 1, 3, and 4, and then at 9 o'clock you want the whole thing to shut off, it'll turn all of them off. So that's pretty cool, and it was pretty easy to get it set up. Like once I had it added, within 2 minutes I had the smart apps downloaded, or the smart lights downloaded, ready to go and control these. If I didn't mention it earlier, no, the USB sockets are not controlled by Z-wave. These are just on all the time. So if you're looking for something to do this, to control these, this will not do that. Funnily enough, in the manual, as I talked earlier, this cord is long. I suspect it's somewhere around 10 feet, but in the little manual it says the cord is 3 feet. So either they're being very generous or they never updated their manual. I'm not sure which, but this is obviously way longer than 3 feet. Like I say, it's at least 6, and I'm guessing it's 10, maybe even 12. But don't hold me onto that, because I don't sell these. I'm just giving you my personal review on it. So, with that being said, the final step I'm going to do is I am going to get this installed in the area it's supposed to go, set up some light timers on it, and get it working and get it put to work. But so far, I'm really happy with this purchase. It's doing everything I want. The blue lights are not superly bright. I had watched a review of the Aeon Labs one, and they had said that the blue lights on it were really bright. This is not, I don't think these are really bright, but then again, I've been playing with it in the daytime, as you can see the lights. So I can't attest to that, but they didn't look like they'd be obtrusively bright. They look like they're glowing, but not like shining up the wall. These are pretty diffused buttons here. So I don't think that'll be a problem. So like I say, so far I've been pretty darn happy with it. The only things I would add, like I said, would be maybe, you know, some of these search protectors have a little bit of red right around here, so you know when it's on or off. I can't really tell by just looking at it, except for the line on the switch. Minor thing. Rubber feet might be kind of useful if this is going to go behind your home entertainment center. You don't want it sliding around. Mounting brackets, if you want to put it on the wall. I know a lot of people like to do that. I guess you could zip tie it. And one thing I did like originally about the Aeon Labs one was they give you ample space between the sockets, and you don't get that so much here. So if you've got some wall warts you're going to plug into here, you're probably going to have to sacrifice a socket next to it. I'm even disappointed that they couldn't have moved, you know, most of them up a little bit and just left one for a wall wart, because ultimately you're probably going to have something, you know, like this, that when you plug it in, I mean, you can see there's not a lot of room to get another plug in there, and definitely not enough room to get another wall wart in there. You know, like that's not going to happen. That's just, you know, that's so you're going to have to do this, and then you lose a socket, which admittedly, when you got 5, it's not the worst thing in the world, but that kind of sucks, right? And you probably wouldn't have that problem. I don't know if you can even see this. You probably wouldn't have that problem with the Aeon Labs AOTech or AOTech, I don't know how you say it, but that was the first thing that attracted me to this one, was the sockets were spaced nicely, and I've become a big fan of that after using many power strips in my time. I've at least appreciated the ones that give you one socket or one or two sockets. You know, they divide them in the half, and 2 of them are off for big wall warty things, because a lot of things are still, and this is actually a pretty thin one. I don't know if I have any bigger ones around here. I guess I don't, but this is still a very common practice in this day and age. So I don't, maybe there's a huge amount of like circuitry in here, but there's just wasted space. They could have, in the worst case, just slide 4 of them down and just give a little space for this, you know? Or see if you can maybe even just get rid of one and then have 4 nicely spaced ones. I don't know. You know, if I was a designer there, I would have said, let's at least give them one. One is better than none, because right now I lose a socket, and I'd rather have one socket and still have my other 4 be useful. So that's, you know, that's one other thing I would change, is I would have added more space for these. The button design is clean. They're kind of recessed or at least surface mounted, so they're very flush. You know, they actually almost don't even look like buttons. So, you know, maybe something to look more like a button, but for what they're going for, they get the job accomplished. And if you know that it's a button, you don't just think that it's a light by just looking at it plugged in. Let me see if I can plug this in here. You know, just by looking at it plugged in, you might just think they were power lights to let you know that it's on or off. You might have to tell somebody that's actually a button. So they don't, at first glance, they don't look like a button, but that's a minor, stupid little gripe, because once you know what you're buying, it's not a big deal. It's just if you buy this for somebody and install it for them, your brother, your mother, your friend, whoever, and then you're like, all right, it's all done, your timer's all set up, good to go, I'll see you later, and something happens and the power goes out, and they're like, I want to turn it off, how do I do it? Oh, those blue lights are buttons. You have to tell them. And, yeah, it's stupid, but they just don't look like buttons at first, and they actually are buttons. So that would be my other little thing. I don't, you know, USB charger is kind of a nice feature. I don't really care. Maybe pump the amps up on that. Another note that I saw in the manual was that they they actually tell you certain things not to plug into it, like a refrigerator, a washer, a dryer, and it says don't plug your cell phone charger into it. Use the USB slots instead. My guess is because they have a max amperage, less chance of blowing them if the power shorts or something. It's just weird that they tell you not to plug your phone charger in here. Let's be honest. If you've got a phone charger, you know, my phone is a Nexus. If you've got a phone charger that has more amperage, 3, 4, 5 amps, whatever, I don't know, who knows what'll come, you're going to want to use one of these because you're going to get more amperage out of it than this. I don't know that if they go that high or if we'll have them that high, but it's just weird that the manual says that. But what I was going to hint at is the manual says it's got a 15 amp max, so don't overload that. It does say you can plug in home AV equipment, computers, monitors, lamps, you know, clocks, things like that. But just keep in mind it's got a 15 amp limit. So if you're going to plug in something that uses a lot of amps, you know, 3 amps, 3 amps, 3 amps, 3 amps, 3 amps, you'll be maxing that bad boy out real quick. And if anything spikes, you possibly could do damage to it. Like I say, I don't think it's actually a surge protector. It looks like a surge protector, but I think it's really just a Z-wave outlet hub that lets you just control the plugs. You know, think of it like just a regular plug you put on the wall. I don't think those are surge protectors either, so if the power zaps, they could go. That being said, most of the time houses aren't getting struck by lightning or whatnot, so it's probably not going to be a problem. But for me, I have a wall-mounted one I'm going to use to protect this. Alright, so that pretty much wraps this up. For me, this has done exactly what I wanted it to do. It associated kind of painlessly once I knew what to do. Use the channel button. Don't use the power button. And after that, setting it up, controlling each switch was pretty awesome. Remember, it's not a dimmer, it's just an on and off. But if you got a few things in the room you want to have turned on and off automatically, and they're all within the range of a switch or the plug, this is the way to go. This is pretty awesome. Alright, well with that I give this a thumbs up. It's well worth the $60, even if you have to pay Amazon's price of $64. I think it's well worth it. Probably worth, you know, the $72.99 for the Aeons is okay, but you have to value how much you like being able to press the button and have it turn on. That's either important to you or it's not important to you. If you're never gonna touch it and you want, you know, something that's got nice spaces, the Aeon Labs one is going to be better for you. But if you like having the ability to turn it on at the switch, which I do, this is the one to get, I think, especially if you're using it with SmartThings. So, thanks for tuning in. Till my next rambling review, this is Kelly. I'll see you later.